Who hung Jesus on the cross? The common people or the leaders? The leaders did. The leaders arrested Jesus, they personally beat him after a mock trial, and they, the leaders, took Jesus to Pilate to be crucified. Why? Well, Pilate saw straight through it. We read, "For he knew that because of envy they had handed him over." Envy. The point is, Jesus was counterculture. He was politically incorrect. He did not agree with the leaders of the day. But being counterculture does not mean you have to sin. Jesus never did. Once he publicly challenged his opponent, saying, "Can any of you prove me guilty of sin?" They could not even one sin. Jesus was not alone in being counterculture. Noah was counterculture, so was Daniel and his friends. After all, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown into a fiery furnace for going against the king. And Daniel purposed in his heart not to defile himself with the Babylonian culture. Moses was counter-Egyptian culture, and Jeremiah was counter-Jerusalem culture. The apostles were also counterculture, and it cost most of them their lives. Paul, who was beheaded for his faith, wrote that our citizenship is in heaven. It's not on earth. And Jesus himself said, "If you were of the world would love you as its own. But because you're not of the world hates you." The world will therefore naturally oppose and hate Christians, because we want to honor God by doing what's right. And they don't. But still, God loves them, and so will we. Nevertheless, the world pressurizes us to accept homosexuality, Islam, euthanasia, etc., and they become angry when we don't. The fact is, we cannot, because we don't choose what's right and wrong. We're called Christians because we follow Christ, and we do what God says. It's as simple as that. If you join a gym or go to a certain school, you have to agree with their policies. If you call yourself a Christian, you need to agree with what Jesus says. And that's what the apostles told the rulers in Jerusalem who opposed the gospel. They said, "We must obey God rather than human beings." It is therefore the duty of every Christian to read their Bibles and to find out what pleases the Lord. In the following growing video resources, we will address some serious cultural issues, and we will always present what God says. Please be warned. As you share what you learn, you will be opposed for standing with Jesus. You may be sued, you may be arrested, you may even be killed. But take heart because of these words of Jesus. He said, "Whoever acknowledges me before others, I will also acknowledge before my Father in heaven. But whoever disowns me before others, I will disown before my Father in heaven."